back to From the Shadow to the Light, the podcast that delves deep into the profound journey from darkness to enlightenment. Hi, I'm Debbie Gill, your host on this transformative journey of profound discovery and personal evolution. Today, we open a chapter that many of us dread yet find inescapable, my dark night of the soul. In this episode, we will explore the heartache and trials that come with life's unexpected turns and the incredible strength and wisdom that can emerge from them. This is a story of love that lost its way, dreams that dissolved right before my eyes, and the harrowing passage through medical and emotional battles that tested the limits of my resilience. We'll travel together through my experiences of dealing with infertility, the dissolution of marriage, and the pivotal moments of isolation that seemed to strip away all I had known and relied upon. Each story, each revelation is aimed not just at sharing a journey, but at illuminating the paths we all walk in our darkest times. This episode is for anyone who has ever felt abandoned by their dreams, betrayed by their expectations, or alone in a crowd. It's a conversation about loss. Still, it's also about finding new ground and seeing that seeds of renewal quietly sprout in the soil of our most painful experiences. So, join me as we step into the shadows, embracing the pain and the promise of rebirth that lies beneath the darkness. Let's discover how new beginnings await in the wings, even when all seems lost, often hidden but always possible. The illusion of permanence. Everything changes, yet somehow, during times of joy and deep connection, it feels like it will last forever. This was precisely how I felt in the early days of my marriage to Tom, where it seemed we had found our forever. The intoxication of new love made each day a treasure. He was attentive and caring. Every moment felt like it was painted with the colors of love. Tom rearranged his life for me, skipped his daily runs, and spent less time with friends to be with me. It was a dream, but like all dreams, it began to fade, and the colors began to wash away into the gray of routine. Why do we feel so betrayed by change? Perhaps it's because during those perfect moments, we are most in touch with our hopes, not our realities. The shift was subtle at first, missed calls, fewer romantic gestures, and the end of those heartfelt nicknames he used to so lovingly whisper. The man who once couldn't wait to see me was slowly receding into someone I felt I barely knew. This isn't just the story of a marriage cooling down. It's a reflection of how we cope when the permanence we believed in reveals itself to be a mirage. It's about understanding that change is the only constant in life, and how we respond to that change defines our path forward. Have you ever found yourself clinging to a moment or a memory, wishing you could freeze time? How did you feel when confronted with the reality that everything changes? What illusions of permanence have you had to confront in your own life? What did these experiences teach you about embracing impermanence? Confronting infertility. The challenge of infertility tested not just our desire to start a family, but also the resilience of our relationship. For Tom and I, the journey to parenthood was supposed to be a natural extension of our love. However, life had other plans. Months of unsuccessful attempts led us to seek medical help, beginning a journey filled with more questions than answers. Each test and procedure, meant to bring us closer to parenthood, instead highlighted the uncertainties we faced. The journey was emotional, each step a mixture of hope and profound anxiety. Navigating the path through infertility was marked by relentless medical appointments and deeply emotional experiences that strained our relationship. The intimacy of creating a life was overshadowed by the clinical nature of treatments, and the privacy of our struggle became a series of public examinations and discussions. Every negative result chipped away at our hope, yet forced us to confront our deepest fears and vulnerabilities together. Despite the clinical atmosphere and the emotional turmoil, each phase of the process forced us to reevaluate our connection, dreams, and resilience. We learned to navigate through this together, discovering strength in our unity and the shared dream of a family, no matter the outcome. I didn't know, however, that it would all be in vain. Have you or someone you know faced challenges with infertility? How did it affect personal relationships and self-perception? In facing significant medical challenges, how do you find strength? And what role do support systems play in navigating such deeply personal trials? Hospitalization and isolation. During the first years of our marriage, the promise of shared happiness faded as everyday realities and challenges surfaced. This gradual shift was unexpectedly accelerated by being hospitalized due to complications during an IVF procedure. As I lay alone in the hospital bed, the physical loneliness amplified my emotional solitude, bringing with it a profound sense of abandonment. Amid the physical pain and the emptiness of the hospital room, my husband's visit one evening seemed like it might offer a reprieve from the isolation. It was late, around 11 p.m. when he arrived, not with words of comfort or a reassuring embrace, but with cheesecake. Under normal circumstances, such a gesture might have been sweet. Still, in the cold, sterile environment of the hospital, following hours of aloneness, it felt disconnected and inadequate. This moment, though apparently trivial, encapsulated the growing disconnect between us. The cheesecake, rather than comforting, felt like a symbol of how out of touch he was with the gravity of my condition and the depth of my distress. It wasn't just the dessert. The timing and the lack of empathy stung, making the emotional distance painfully clear. This visit was meant to support us, but instead, it highlighted the chasms in our understanding and care for each other during a critical time in our lives. As I lay there, the gesture prompted a deeper examination of our relationship and the support structures I had believed were in place. It was a poignant reminder of how even well-intended actions can sometimes miss their mark so profoundly, especially when they come wrapped in the guise of normalcy at a time when nothing was as expected. Have you ever received a gesture intended to be kind, but felt out of touch with your actual needs? How did this impact your feelings toward the person who offered it? In times of personal crisis, how important is the type of support offered by loved ones? How do their actions influence your emotional well-being? The unraveling of a relationship. The unraveling of a relationship involves more than just the clear breakdowns. It's about the subtle shifts that slowly erode trust and intimacy. During our struggles with infertility, Tom and I found ourselves drifting apart and increasingly disconnected. The emotional toll, coupled with the stress and disappointment of each setback, manifested in unexpected ways. Communication faltered, and the comfortable silences that once spoke of understanding grew into gaps of detachment. The man who had once been my confidant and partner in everything seemed to become a stranger. The distancing was gradual. At first, it was the missed dinners, then the canceled plans, and slowly, the absence of those small daily kindnesses that had once defined our relationship. Each small withdrawal added another fracture to the foundation of our marriage. This period was marked by a painful realization. Our shared dream had morphed into mutual loneliness and misunderstanding. As we moved through counseling sessions and endless discussions, it became clear that our paths were diverging. This was not merely a phase, but a profound shift in our lives and identities. In these sessions, I learned the power of unspoken words and the depth of unaddressed emotions. Each meeting, instead of bringing us closer, seemed only to highlight the vast gulf that had formed between us. The reality of our situation became impossible to ignore. With heavy hearts, we began confronting the possibility of a future apart. Think back to a relationship in your life that changed over time. What signs indicated that things were shifting? In times of relational crisis, what strategies have you found most effective for addressing issues with honesty and openness? How important is recognizing when a relationship no longer supports mutual growth? Descent into darkness. As the familiar structures of my life began to unravel, I faced a chilling realization. Since I identified myself with my marriage, when the marriage ended, I ended as well. The complete outer framework of my life collapsed, making it feel as if I also ceased to exist. This profound loss was not merely of a relationship, but my true sense of self. It wasn't just a setback, but a rock-bottom freefall. The process was painful and disorienting, plunging me into an overwhelming emptiness. Every aspect of my identity that was intertwined with being married was now in question. Without this anchor, I found myself adrift in a sea of uncertainty. The fear was palpable, the loneliness profound. In these moments, I was not finding strength. I was clinging to the remnants of my former self, searching for solid ground. As I faced this lowest point, the most raw and vulnerable phase of my life, I realized that I was not yet at rock bottom. There was further to fall, a deeper darkness to explore. The journey was far from over, and the test of my resilience and transformation lay ahead. The actual descent into rock bottom was imminent, and I was about to learn that sometimes you must face complete darkness to find the light. Reflect on a time when you felt you were nearing rock bottom. How did you prepare for the challenges ahead? What does it feel like to stand on the precipice of a significant life change, knowing that further challenges await? As we conclude today's exploration of profound loss and the descent toward rock bottom, we stand at the threshold of even more profound challenges. The journey throughout the darkest nights of our souls is often non-linear and fraught with unexpected turns. Today, we've witnessed the unraveling of an identity so closely tied to a marriage that its dissolution felt like a personal extinction. Yet, as we peer into what seems like an abyss, we recognize that the true test of endurance and transformation is about to unfold. In our next episode, we will venture into the heart of darkness, into the moments and experiences that define rock bottom. There, we will find the seeds of our rebirth, where the deepest growth occurs after everything familiar has been stripped away. As we bid farewell to this chapter of our journey, let us carry forward the lessons learned, the wisdom gained, and the hope that burns brightly within us. For, in the end, it is not the destination that matters, but the journey itself. The journey of exploring our hearts and stepping into the light of our true potential. Until next time, keep nurturing your inner light and embracing the beauty of the path you walk. May you find strength in your struggles and joy in your triumphs. And remember, even in the darkest moments, a spark of light is always waiting to be discovered.